Hello and welcome back. This is the third video of our seed starting workshop at Fitness Farm. I'm Sarah Adams, here one of the staff. And on the third one, we're going to talk about actually seeding. We're going to get some seeds into the soil. So we talked about soil mix and what should be in your potting soil or your seed starting mix. And then we talked about what to look for on a seed packet. And we've got our lemon cucumbers that we looked at in the last video. We know that they want to be a ½ inch deep. And so in this case, our soil block that we looked at in the first one, it makes about a ½ inch hole. So I went through and poked the holes a little bit deeper in each of these blocks to ready this cucumber to be a ½ inch deep. So you want to be pretty careful with the seeds. Many of them can be a whole lot smaller than this, and in those cases, you know, one bump can roll seeds all over your floor. You'll never recover them. Generally speaking, they have a little bit of rubber cement on here, and so you're able to open and close it pretty securely. Always keep it closed and then out of your way. And you want one, generally speaking for this, you want one seed. Oh, I just got two. You want one seed per soil block. These are pretty large and quite easy to work with. The little bitty ones can be much more of a challenge. Most of your flower seeds are going to be generally pretty small, unless it's maybe a marigold. Zinnias are pretty good size. But we have seeded celosia. You ever seen coxcomb, the great big beautiful red or magenta fuzzy fans, flower heads? Those things are just beautiful, and you'd think they're such a huge flower, but they've got a microscopic seed. So in order to be a ½ inch deep, they have to be deep into something. So they're not just in here, we actually have to cover them up with some soil. So we're using some of the dry version of our soil mix, and we'll just fill the hole. This makes sure that the seed is dark, germinating in the dark. If something wants to be a ½ inch deep, it's going to want to germinate in the dark. A lot of those tiny flower seeds, they actually don't want any darkness to germinate. They need some light to germinate, in which case we would flatten out this soil block like that and just pop the seed right on top. So as an example, this is basil seed. And you might want to grow basil in your garden. It's fantastic, delicious, wonderful with tomatoes and in all of your summertime salads. But check this out. That's a pretty itty bitty seed. So it can be challenging to get just one of these onto a soil block or into your egg carton or your cup. I'll carefully put these back so they don't end up all over the floor. And seal it. And then in another case, you could be lucky enough to be seeding green beans. These are a runner bean. So it looks just like you might expect. It's a great big bean. In that case, we would put them pretty deep into a soil block, or we might even pot them up into something like a 4-inch pot if we weren't direct seeding them out in the field. So now we've got seeds in the ground. In the next video, we'll talk about water and light. Thanks.